Welcome to the Guitar Shop.
Thunderdome.
One man leaves. Two men come in. One man
Let's take
leaves.
that from the top. Are we speeding?
Master Blaster.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Take two.
This is the Guitar Shop Podcast, Season 2, Episode
Wait, was that
7?
7?
Season
Coming to you from
liberally.
Wade's Guitar Shop in the beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee.
Still a bit chilly here, but getting better every day. I'm Wade's Guitar Shop. I'm Wade Stark, owner.
I'm Wade's Guitar Shop.
I'm a one-man walking freaking guitar shop.
I'm
Pretty much
the
it.
shop. You're nothing
Nobody
without me in the shop.
says any different. Capiche?
Capiche?
I'm Wade Stark, owner of Wade's Guitar Shop.
I am Dan Hintz, former employee,
Of Wade's guitar.
but a Wade Shop enthusiast.
You could also say something that you are that's not related to the shop. You could say, I'm Dan Hintz of Maritime, ready to tour on the new CD coming out, or you got plugs coming up.
Plug it.
Plug it. Let's try that again.
The new record?
I'm Wade Stark of Wade's Guitar Shop.
I'm Dan Hintz, guitar player of Maritime. We have a new CD called Human Hearts. It's coming out April 5th. You're gonna dig it.
By the time they see this,
We
it
can
will be
edit
out.
that out. Yeah. No.
Pick it up. Get it on vinyl. Comes with the CD and the digital downloads. Support a band. These guys are obviously still amazing. And you got some maybe touring in Europe coming up.
Yes, possibly in Germany. A week. This summer.
They love you guys in Germany, don't they?
They like
Ja,
the
genau,
music.
ja, genau.
Yeah.
And over here
At least
on my
somebody
left,
likes it.
I am Alex Ballard, manager of Wade's Guitar Shop.
check us out on the website, wadesguitarshop.com. Click on the podcast link. Send us comments, questions, pictures, stories, anything you like to Wade's Guitar Shop at sbcglobal.net. Solo. Thank you.
Yeah.
Check us out on the iTunes Store, Moreau, Zune Marketplace, all your favorite podcast aggregators.
That was an alligator.
What?
Wasn't a cut sign. Cut! Yeah. Alrighty then.
We've got a wonderful little discussion going to go on tonight about one of the things that I think we deal with perhaps the most around here, and that is electric guitar pickups.
Well, alright.
We love to change them, mod them, adjust them, rewire them, and teach people about them. So we're going to talk a little bit about pickup kind of basics, and we're going to actually, a number of you have actually emailed us and requested that we play more guitars, run them through an amp so you can hear the sound. So we got a
Boring. Just
we
kidding.
got an old Vibrochamp down here ready to go, and we got a few guitars with some different pickups for you to hear tonight. And the guys are gonna play some music while we chat about pickups. So we're going to kick it off just by kind of talking about the basics between what is the classic single coil pickup, which was the first pickup designed back in the 1930s. You know, probably the Rickenbacker Frying Pan and the Gibson Charlie Christian are probably like the first mass-produced electric guitars with magnetic pickups. And of course, in 1957, Gibson put out the first humbucking pickup designed by Seth Lover. So start off with single coils, and why don't we grab this Stratocaster right here, just to sort of get the single coil talk going. And yeah, you go ahead and hold it. You're we'll take the snark tuner off here.
Snark.
This Stratocaster actually has 2 single coil pickups and a humbucker. If Alex can see it clearly there.
Oh, yes,
I think he knows.
I've seen
the
these before, yeah.
I've
seen
boring. He works here.
I've seen
I
this
set
sort
it
of
up.
type of device. I believe it's a guitar. Yeah.
And it's pointing right at you.
Whoa. Hey.
Okay, so, and actually this is probably a good spot to kind of look at what we have. Middle and neck position. Stratocasters traditionally have 3 single coil pickups. This one has a Seymour Duncan pearly gates in the bridge position. But single coil pickup. Go ahead, Dan. Tell us about single coil pickup design. Why it's called a single coil pickup and.
I'm not really the expert on this.
Trick question.
Well, it is for me. I mean, I really don't know the best way to describe why it's a single. I don't know what the names of this. There's bobbins and
And Mary Poppins.
and and just umbrellas and bikes flying through the air. Yeah, I don't know. I know it's 1.
Instead of 2. Yeah.
This one's 2.
With
Some
goes to 11,
tuppence for
yeah.
bobbins and wire.
This one's 1 for single.
See, I think in previous episodes we
I
have
really would be tripping over myself trying to explain this. I appreciate your vote of confidence.
take
though.
3.
Welcome to the podcast guitar.
Yeah.
Remember in the first episode when
Bonanza.
you called it a blogcast?
I was watching your blogcast on the Tweezer and
On the blog site.
I saw you on the
the weblog.
MySpace on the weblog, and then
And then I twizzled
I
about it
twizzled about it. We discussed it on Twizzler.
on my web phone, on my blog phone.
blog.
We were in the
Let me
website
call you on my
mobile
blog phone. Yeah.
I have an app for that. Hold on.
Hold on, I'm
We
loading
did
the
the apps already. I think we have previously touched on single coil design. You pretty much said it. It is a bobbin, kind of like a bobbin on a sewing machine. It's
What
a-
is the bobbin, though? The bobbin's the one that always trips me up. It's-
Well, the bobbin is basically, with or without magnets, the bobbin is the spool that you wind the magnet
Okay,
wire
so it's
on.
kind of the structure that the
Yeah.
wire gets wrapped around.
Occasionally, a bobbin, like the parts of a bobbin, are actually connected by the magnets, like they are on a Strat pickup.
Okay.
Sometimes the bobbin is just molded out of plastic and free, completely isolated from the magnets. In the case of a Gibson humbucker, the coils are wound before magnets are ever put.
And the coils
in.
are the thin wire
It's a magnet wire, usually
That's-
41 gauge or 42 gauge.
that's wrapped
which is-
around, and the wire does not touch the magnets.
Well,
that against the law?
No, they actually on a Strat they do, but the magnets are dipped to coat them to keep so you don't have metal contact with metal, so nothing shorts out. And of course, the magnet wire, like all wire used in wiring, is insulated. So magnet wire on a pickup has
it
kind
is?
of a golden color, so it is coated in either enamel or a varnish or a
I see the
synthetic.
trick with it.
So that way, as you wind thousands of windings on a coil on a bobbin, the wire, the magnet wire, no wrap ever touches a previous wrap. They do overlap each other, but the insulation prevents you from wire ever touching it. So that way, when
So that could kind of semi-short out a pickup, just cracks in the enamel or whatever.
well, that probably is one of the most common reasons for shorts in a pickup is insulation breaks down somewhere
There
in the
you
middle
go.
of that coil.
See, I'm
Eureka.
learning this. Yeah. I'm surprised I didn't know any of this stuff.
The technical aspect of the show is a surprise for everybody.
So it's like an oblong sewing thread with the wire as the thread or the coil, and with a magnet in the middle, or
Creating magnetic
multiple
field.
magnets.
right, and yeah, so that in a nutshell is the basics of.
And it's one,
It is
No,
one.
2. I still kind of don't get.
2,
I guess I don't
1,
quite get how come a humbucker cancels.
and 2.
Well,
Is it like a balancing cable or something where there's positive and negative? And I don't get it.
Seth Lover took the secret to the grave.
No one knows why. Yeah.
No one knows. I think we would
It's like
probably
an
need.
out of phase sort of.
Well, they're in phase, obviously. I mean, on a
Yeah, but
humbucker.
they're
Well,
wound reverse, correct?
One reverse with opposite polarity magnets.
Oh, you have to have opposite polarity magnets now.
That has been season 2, episode 7.
We're obviously your pickup experts here. Yeah.
So he had all sorts of stuff laying around in his house he had to work with, huh? That just so happened. How did they come up with this stuff? Too complicated.
I think there's customers out there going, I think Dan recommended a bunch of pickups to me.
I fear things I don't understand.
Luckily, even though I have no idea how a pickup
I don't
works,
trust this one now.
I still can.
This is all going to be in the blooper at the end.
It's freaking me out, really. I don't know how I've lost my mind.
Okay, what the physics of a humbucking pickup are, I'm not exactly positive. But
there's one thing I do know, and that is rock on, baby.
Rock on, take it.
Make loud noise, sound good.
Yeah.
1, 2. Okay, we're good.
There is some magic that goes on in a humbucking pickup, which we had touched on in the past. You got 2 coils, one of them wound clockwise, the other one wound counterclockwise. Opposite polarity magnets in each one, and they're wired together in either series or parallel, and something magical goes on there that...
You can do that in post, because I know I've read how it works, but I can't. It's not in there. Yeah.
I honestly wasn't prepared to talk so much about the physics of pickups.
This is like humbucker philosophy, what do you think?
This week on How Much Do You Really Know About the Pickups in Your Guitar? Yeah.
All of you who sent us emails who wanted to hear guitar sounds, fast forward to about the 20-minute mark and see if that's where we are.
So, about these black holes now.
Single
Now,
coil.
did you just mention an active pickup? Because you're way out of your league, Donnie.
Oh, yeah. I meant the EMG black hole, not the Stephen Hawking's black hole.
Oh, no. Let's not get out of the passive mode
boy.
and introduce a battery into this whole thing. We know this.
My name's not Jeff, it's the dude.
All right.
I'm going to put this one down.
How about a little practical? Let's give you a little practical.
Single coil. So let's talk about the sonic characteristics of pickup. Single coil, generally speaking.
I know the sound. See, this is the part about it I know.
Here's where we get into the expert portion of the show.
Yeah. I seem to have spent all my time learning about the sound and not about how all the 60
electrons
cycles
flow.
and this with the...
Good call, right.
Well,
You gotta have your priorities.
Can't even say what I don't even know about it.
Well, okay. Well, you know way more than you think you know, because Alnico 2 magnets versus Alnico 5 magnets. Here's something that we talk about with customers all the time. Single coil pickups primarily, Stratocasters like we just saw there. Single coil pickups have Alnico magnet pole pieces. When an Alnico magnet is manufactured new, it's a strength of Alnico 5. It's a very strong magnet, and over time, Alnico weakens to a more stable configuration, which is called Alnico 2. When you hear old Strats and Tellys, they're aged magnets. So you're hearing
That's more like a 2.
Alnico 2. It's
Got one right.
rounder, thumpier tone, more of that vintage Fender sound.
I'm on board with you. I'm feeling this.
80s, 90s, 2000s Strats, typically you're having Alnico 5 magnets. They haven't aged. They're not using aged magnets. Pretty bright, pretty splacky, almost shrill, real cutting on the high end.
Twangy.
Seymour Duncan, I think, was the first one who probably 30 years ago started using, he started aging magnets. He started taking Alnico 5 magnets and weakening them to their Alnico 2 configuration so that you would get a vintage tone out of a brand new pickup, and that it would always sound like that. Yeah, and Seymour, thank you for all of the innovation. He's the guy who raised the bar.
Seymour knows how they work.
In pickups.
Yeah.
And we should probably give him. Let's see if somebody can get Rex. Get him on the horn. We need to know about humbucking pickups.
He can tell us.
And
He'll answer our questions.
And he was Seth Lover's friend at the end, so he probably gave him the secrets. So not all single coil pickups are going to have Alnico barrel-shaped pole pieces like that. Grab this SG right here. This is single coil P90 pickups. Gibson came out with these back in the 40s. This is what's commonly referred to as a soap bar pickup, but it's a single coil pickup. But this is an example of a single coil pickup where it has adjustable pole pieces that are magnetized from an Elnico bar magnet stuck on the bottom of the pickup, and a coil wound on a bobbin that spreads out farther. Sherry bobbins.
Now, true or false, though, the reason they're called soap bars is that's actual black soap, right?
It is, yes.
Don't get it wet.
But it's magnetic.
It's magnetic soap, very
Yes,
very
magnetic
common
soap,
in hospitals and
Like isotope
and prisons,
soap is what it is, really.
I'm really confused.
Isotope soap, I don't know what that is.
Iso soap.
Let's, P90s are kind of a little bit hotter than Strat pickups and kind of known to be a little crunchier, higher output, more mid-rangey.
Known to sound like Pete Townsend live at Leeds. Yeah, see what I'm talking
Warmer.
about?
Much
Yeah.
warmer.
He hasn't seen this one yet, so we're also, I've been trying to sell this to him.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Don't let my wife know.
So one of the many single coil designs through the years, so I mean what you're going to find, and of course a P90, because of its unique shape, is not going to drop into a Stratocaster. So when you're talking about modding a guitar, or possibly, you know, changing a guitar, the size and shape of the pickup is going to limit what pickups you can put in what guitars.
So you just whittle the soap down until it fits in. No,
Well,
it's
you
not made
you
out of soap.
put it in the shower after after 3 or
number
4
of
weeks when
uses,
it's
yeah.
shrunk down and kind of curly and gets those funny little cracks in it like the
Yes.
soap does.
Curly?
Yeah, then-
Anyway.
Not, yeah, we are.
Alrighty then.
Go.
He's been sleeping at your house.
But yeah, you can chop a hole in your Strat pickguard and in the wood, and we can put a P90 in there, or one could.
Yeah, you could put just about anything anywhere, couldn't you?
Yep, you really could when it comes to pickups, and you really should when it comes to pickups.
Well, being the mod nuts that we are, and of course for the 4 to 5 years Dan was here, he was too. We do things like this.
Oh, this little
This.
thing
Oh,
here.
let's make
yeah.
room for
So
this
this is one of the Ballard concoctions that we sort of dreamt up together.
Ballcaster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bellcat.
Battle cats.
So what do we got going on here? Pickup
Well,
lines.
nothing. I don't hear anything coming out of here. What do we got? Oh, there we go. Well, pickup-wise, we've got a nice Filtertron from Gretsch here. This is a classic Gretsch pickup, which
Minute.
gives you that nice...
That is a humbucking pickup. Two coils.
So that one's fun. There's a 5-way switch here that gives me my nice Filtertron mixed in with a P90 soap bar, which is cool. So it gives you the... Then just the soap bar.
Probably a little hard to.
Need some guitar presenting training wheels, really.
Then back here I have some kind of rail pickup, which has a little switch on it to go series, tapped, so it's single coil, it's humbucking, and parallel. So you got
What did Seth have to say about that?
single coil
He said it's an abomination.
and series.
So, I guess what you're saying is you can put just about anything anywhere.
That's pretty much what we have discovered. Is with a little effort and a router and some creativity, anything you want.
Yeah, note the nice switches here, too. Gretsch switches.
They've been noted. Okay, cool. Geek's over.
So the Gretsch Filtertron he was talking about.
Star Touch.
Don't fail me now. This is the where the Gretsch Filtertron is most commonly seen. Now, what'll happen is
On switch somewhere.
And the dancing monkeys come in.
don't try this at home. We are professionals here on a closed course. So this is a Hot Rod Brian Setzer, full hollow body with Filtertron humbucking pickups, but what I next wanted to say was, what really happens then sonically to a pickup when it's mounted in different kinds of guitars? Stratocaster, solid body, you know, Alex's custom telly, maple neck, the SG, all mahogany with a mahogany neck, and now here we are, a full hollow body, which really is going to have an effect on the pickups.
It does. You wouldn't think it does, because technically it kind of shouldn't, but they are microphonic to a point, and by microphonic I mean they do pick up things outside of just the magnetic properties of these strings.
Right.
So yeah, occasionally you can scream into a electric guitar pickup and hear your voice. It's better if you have braces. But,
stuck to the Filtertron!
because of that anomaly, you get some of the character of the guitar too, which is pretty cool.
Well, ultimately, a pickup is resonating, right, with the characteristics of the body. So if you have a hollow body, the top is moving quite a bit more on here than on a Stratocaster with an ash body, and differently than on a mahogany body.
Oh, I suppose the height too.
Yeah.
It resonating close and far away from the strings too. That's going to make a difference.
Well, and at the end of the day, how you mount the pickup. I mean, so if you look at, again, let's take a peek at your telly once. Yeah, we don't need to plug it in, but I just want to point out that on a Telecaster, the bridge pickup is mounted with its mounting screws on the metal plate of the Telecaster bridge. In this case, it's a Bigsby B5 setup, so you don't have the classic Tele bridge, but you do have a metal plate there.
I can see it, but maybe the world.
Show Dan.
I've seen it. I don't need to see it anymore.
So by a pickup being mounted onto a metal plate like this, its resonant properties are very different than when it is mounted directly into the body, as this P90 is. So if there's two little screws here and here that actually screw this down into the body, the Filtertron mounts pretty much the same way. And on a Stratocaster, the pickups mount into the pickguard with its mounting screws. And pickguard material, being multi-layered plastic, has different resonant properties than mounting it into wood, and of course with the body on here, you know, being like probably older with a maple neck, the SG then with mahogany with a glued-in neck. All the resonant properties of your guitar acoustically are picked up by the pickup. So if you take a Strat pickup and put it in the Gretsch, put it in the Tele, put it in the Strat, put it in the SG.
It's not going to sound just like a Strat. I mean, that's sort of a misconception. Like, I want my SG to sound just like a Strat. I'll put a Strat pickup in there.
Also, with Strats, it's like
going to come
you can
close.
put different pickups in them, but they always tend to end up sounding like kind of like a Strat anyway. You know?
And so what you're usually trying to do then is when you're mounting the guitar, you're trying to create a unique sound, but an approximation. So again, when you're talking to an expert, you know, you go into your local music shop where you trust somebody who's going to be working on your guitar. If you want your Strat to sound more like a Les Paul, well, you're either going to do like we did, or like Fender did on this Strat, and put a Seymour Duncan Pearly Gates. The Pearly Gates, you know, is based on, I think, Billy Gibbons' 59 Les Paul pickup. That's going to be a very Les Paul-y pickup, but of course you're mounting it into an ash body into the pickguard with a maple neck. That's different than a Les Paul. Seymour Duncan makes what are called stacks or rail pickups side by side. You know, now you're a big fan of the rail pickups, so you've got a rail here, and I know you like Little 59 and JV Juniors.
Yeah, aren't those kind of more like shrunken humbuckers though? 'Cause they don't.
Yes, I mean, so that's, but this is a shrunken humbucker too. So but I'm talking about the idea then of a Strat or Tele size side by side humbucker versus a stack.
Yeah.
So kind of describe the difference between those two.
Well, to create hum canceling, what they did was, if you wanted to, single coil pickups can not generate 60 cycle hum, but they don't cancel 60 cycle hum out. So a lot of people love the way they sound, but when the humbucker came out and it had reduced 60 cycle hum, it was attractive to use those pickups, but a lot of times people were like, well, you know what, though, I still really like the single coil sound.
Yeah, the sound is different.
But, yeah, you know, so it inevitably changes the sound because well, for one thing, it's a much wider sort of sample of string vibration, so inherently it's going to be a little bit different than just a small little area. What was the question again? Yeah. I'm just kidding. So anyway, what they ended up doing is taking a single coil, and instead of making a humbucker where the two coils are side by side, they took one and stacked it on top of the other. And so one is basically the pickup, and the other one is more or less serving to cancel the 60-cycle hum. And that kind of gives you
Instead of this, you get this.
Yes. And then the idea being that you get more of that traditional single coil Strat sound without the noise. And I would say that's, I think the classic stacks nail it pretty good from Seymour Duncan. But not all of them sound that great. But this type of thing, he's saying this is a rails pickup because there's two magnets side by side that are called rail magnets. They're, instead of little pole pieces, there's just these rails. But there's two of them side by side, just like a humbucker, only it's small enough to fit in this telly bridge. They also make them to fit in a Strat socket, or whatever you want to call it, pickup hole.
I like that, a Strat socket.
Strat socket, yeah, that's a new word. And then there's also pickups very similar to this that are like that Pearly Gates, only miniaturized. The Seymour Duncan Little 59 and the JB Junior are like their bigger counterparts, but shrunken down. And they do sound a little bit different because they're smaller like that, but at the same time they got that thick mid-range humbucker thing happening, and they hum cancel. So it takes a single coil guitar and gives you a little beefier.
It gets you about 3/4, 80% the way there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think the science of modding with pickups is not to give you exactly. You're never going to make a Strat sound exactly like a 59 Les Paul. No, but you can get close, and the rest is up to you. What kind of equipment are you running it through? If you're looking for a thick Les Paul-y kind of sound, you might find that a JB Junior or a Little 59 stuck into a Strat is as close as you need to get, because it's going to be thicker, way more kind of lows and mids, less of that twanginess on the top.
Or if you just have a guitar and you go, a lot of customers don't know that they need a new pickup per se. They just go, I like how it sounds when the switch is up here, and I got just this pickup, but when I go back here, I don't like this sound, Then you're like, oh, well, what don't you like about it? And if they can kind of articulate that, usually you can kind of go, well, if I put a JB Junior in here, that's going to be too brittle for you, But if I put a little 59 in there, So there's different characteristics that each pickup is going to give you, So to me, a lot of times when I hear a guitar, I'm like, oh, everything's great about this, but I could just do these little tweaks by getting this one pickup or this one capacitor or whatever. But
yeah, and a lot of that's experimentation too. And does Seymour Duncan still have this deal where you buy the
21-day money-back guarantee, where you're right, you can buy a pickup. If you don't like it, you can send it back to them. They'll send a replacement back to you of something of
a completely different. So right, you got 3 weeks to make sure you like your pickup. If not, send it. Seymour Duncan will send you something different to try.
Yeah. So you're out install if you can't do it yourself, and you're out shipping, but you're not out in the cold 100%. But the other thing I was you talked about magnets, but the other thing, can we talk about DC resistance and resonant peaks and
absolutely
stuff like that? Because I was mentioning the Little 59 versus the JB Junior. They're very similar, but the JB Junior has a lot more winds, I think. I don't know if it has the exact same magnet, but I think it just has way, way, way more windings, and it has an output of about 16, almost 17K in a Strat, and the Little 59 in a Strat's probably about 8K or something like that, roughly. Yeah. So almost half the DC resistance. I wouldn't say it's half the output, but definitely the
so 8K is 8,000 ohms of DC resistance, 16K, 17K, and so on, and that's typically how the output of pickups is kind of measured. It's not the end-all way to describe a pickup's output, but if somebody says it's a Strat pickup and it's 6K, that's vintage. If somebody says it's a humbucker and it's 16, 17, 18K, that's really hot.
That's really hot modern. Yeah.
So, you can find all this information probably pretty thoroughly on Seymour Duncan's website.
Yeah, Seymour Duncan has an awesome, in their brochures that they used to give out, I don't know if they
still do.
Yep. Good brochure.
Yeah, it's all listed in the back, and the characteristics of sound, along with the they're good at breaking down what everything means, as far as resistance.
Duncan usually has a 3 sort of bass, middle, treble rating for the pickups too.
Yeah. Which is really accurate.
Yeah. So you can look at it and it'll say, well, this has a treble characteristic of a 10, and a bass characteristic of a 1, that's going to be super thin and bright. I don't think they make a pickup that would be like that. That would be horrible. But but it's a bit like a 1 to 10 scale. So if it's got a 5 mid range, that's pretty flat in the mids. 7 high, that's a little brighter maybe, and 8 bass would be bassy. So that's a good starting point to kind of figure out the EQ.
Their website also has sound samples, if I remember correctly.
And wiring diagrams, and
Do-it-yourself wiring diagrams. They have tons of them.
educate yourself. I mean, there's obviously a lot of information out there. Call us, send us emails too. It's one of those kind of things where you could really say, I've got a Strat. When I'm in the lead position, I want it to be really heavy, distorted, great solo stuff. When I go to the neck, I want it to sound like, a creamy jazz guitar. You can describe what you want, and, we or whoever kind of knows their aftermarket pickups can make recommendations, and again, narrow your field down to a couple things so you're not out there like we talked about once upon a time with speaker cabinets, so you're not out there buying 100 pickups before you find the right one.
Because we've done that. So we
can tell you, we've spent thousands of dollars and thousands of hours jerking around with these pickups.
Yes.
But, another argument to beyond just tonally shaping your guitar from where it's at would be just that I find that a lot of the major manufacturers who either manufacture their own pickups or have other companies manufacture them tend to not, for whatever reason, make the best pickups, even in relatively expensive American guitars. Sometimes I hear a guitar and I go, wow, it's a nice piece of wood, it's everything.
But for me, I always just go back to putting in Seymour Duncan pickups in my guitars. So for me, I don't care about anybody else but Seymour.
I don't.
They're just the best anyway. I just want to go with them. What I mean?
Well, not to be completely
it's weird, but it's
Seymour worshipping, but
it's safe though.
But it really is
great pickups,
and he makes one for every season, and he really is the master of. He really knows probably more than any human on the planet about pickups. He got a lot of the old machines from Gibson and Fender. He met with a lot of the old Fender people that used to wind the pickups, and then with Seth Lover, he had a relationship.
Yeah, I really rarely, if ever, have installed a pickup for somebody and had them listen to the guitar and go,
that doesn't sound as good.
I mean, there's always a noticeable difference, and it's
almost always better. Yeah,
always better. Yeah.
What about some of the boutique manufacturers? Right now, I got guys that will come in with, I just got this pickup set, and it was $400, and it's made in, Australia by this, whatever. There's a lot of smaller companies that are rising up.
Maybe go ahead and put that guitar down. I think we're locking up camera B there. Lawler is one of the real popular ones. I know we see real boutique ones. Lindy Fralin, Lawler, Rio Grande.
Kinsman was that one.
That was the Australian one.
Yeah, the Australian one.
They were kind of
strange.
Interesting, yeah.
So we get to try a lot of different pickups out here. I guess making one sweeping generalization, going with a pickup manufacturer like Seymour Duncan, which would be a larger one, but where they really know, they just do pickups, or one of these smaller boutique manufacturers where they're hand winding the pickups, and hand selecting the components. You're going to get a better quality pickup than what's probably coming in your guitar, even if your guitar is relatively expensive. If you like the way your guitar sounds and you like the pickups, then hey, roll that way, no big deal,
Yeah.
And I guess, pickups aren't going to, I think sometimes people think if they could just find the right pickup, all the stars would align and everything would fall into place. I mean,
sometimes you just don't
really
like the
about
guitar.
That. Yeah.
Right, that's the first thing. I mean, maybe you think
maybe it ain't the pickups, right? It's just.
Well, what's your main guitar right now?
Oh, it's the Japanese '50s reissue Telly.
And what pickups are in it?
Stacks, Seymour Duncan Stacks.
Classic Stacks.
Classic Stacks. Yeah.
Obviously, we saw one of your main guitars. Like, just what's one other of your? I mean, you have quite an arsenal of your little custom projects and stuff. But like, what's one of something kind of different from your Telly? What's another favorite guitar that you got, and what pickups are you rolling with it?
Well, I built an Esquire,
which we saw a couple episodes ago.
Right, which has a Seymour Duncan 59 for Telly, and I have it series parallel tapped. And that just sounds great. It's a great way to do an Esquire.
That's cool.
It's on the three-way switch, right? So it's just one pickup, series parallel tapped, and it sounds great. I have 2 Strats with Antiquity Strat sets, which Antiquities are personally hand-wired by Seymour Duncan. They're not outrageously expensive, and they're just the best. traditional Strat pickups. I've tried everything, and I mean, I personally haven't tried the Lindy Fralins in my guitar, you know, but all of us have installed Fralins and Lawlers and a lot of these other, and again, I was real impressed with the Lawler pickups. I thought they sounded pretty impressive and whatever, so I haven't like A-B'd the Antiquities to the Lawlers, but the Antiquities, I mean, we actually put an Antiquity, I know, and like we put Antiquities as replacement pickups for missing pickups in vintage guitars, and they're pretty seamless because the whole Antiquity line is basically all handmade by Seymour Duncan, all reverse engineered to like a crazy extent to be exactly like original vintage pickups. He makes P90s like the soap bars, Strat pickups, Tele pickups that are based on the 50s and 60s designs, and then the best P.A.F. on the planet, which is the original humbucker, patent applied for humbucker design.
And they're aged too.
And
so I mean, aged magnets, covers, bobbins. You know, even so far as like dust and dirt on the wire, and whatnot. I mean, they are. Warranted right out of the box. They look like a 40-year-old pickup, but
so you can drop them in.
Incredible sounding.
You know, a 40-year-old guitar, and it's not going to look like brand new shiny. What's that weird? Something
and
looks out of place,
as far as the Strat pickups, it's just like it's like you're communing with your guitar. It's just so much different. I think
he's got a gift for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of good pickup companies out there.
Can you grab the funky Silvertone back there? We're short on time, but I'm probably the odd dog here. This isn't one of my guitars, but this is real similar to what I rock. I play mostly old 60s harmony guitars, which have these little floating DeArmond row single coil pickups. They're just tiny, flat little pickups with small little magnets, but they use a thin magnet wire, which makes for kind of a high DC resistance and a very small coil. And again, a real unique tone, which completely different from everybody else. I mean, and that's kind of my thing. They're sort of clean when you play them soft, and they get pretty muddy when you strum hard.
Where can I get some of those?
Seymour, on eBay for about $300.
Yeah, nobody's really making those, and they're not really easy to put on.
You can buy the guitar for $500, or you can buy the pickups for $600.
Well, the only guitar that I have that's not an old Harmony or Silvertone that has those pickups on it is I have an Eastwood Saturn 63 that I took the two stock sort of Rickenbacker copy pickups, which were meant to be humbucking in the middle position. I stacked them together and made them into one humbucker, and then I have an old Duncan Jeff Beck full-size humbucker that I put in the bridge. I just keep putting that in every guitar that I have. And then I took one of those little floating DeArmonds and I put it in the middle on that one and did a crazy wiring job. I think I may have showed that on another podcast, but
that's a nice sounding guitar.
Yeah, that's a versatile axe, and that's my kind of wacky, funked out sound. It's
cool. I was going to say a moment of silence on the podcast. Rare.
Okay, real quick, we have a letter from a viewer.
All right.
I really appreciate the podcast. I am a beginner, and you guys have taken the intimidation of the guitar shop away. I have a couple of questions. You will probably figure out that I am fighting my first real case of gas.
Gear acquisition syndrome.
I have a Squier Affinity Strat, HSS, so like our Strat here, humbucking, single coil, that my girls gave me as a Father's Day gift. After playing a while and looking at a lot of gear, I have my heart set on a Les Paul Faded. Because of who gave it to me, I don't want to get rid of the Squier. Is it worth upgrading the pickups in the Squier with the idea that I would end up with a decent Strat-style guitar to go with a good Les Paul? And that's it kind of goes on, and oh, it's kind of funny. He says, I'm looking forward to a new episode. If you ever consider an online Wade's Guitar Shop store, I would be glad to purchase items from you. So maybe someday we'll do an online shop, but thanks for that. But
maybe we could do an auction, though, right now. How much for the champ? Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, we were just talking about modding a guitar.
And one of us would have to end up buying it, because no one else here.
No, they would call in. You could call us right now.
Yeah, that's going to work.
Maybe we'll try that on our blog.
It's on my mobile.
Okay. On my blog phone.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we were just talking about one of our common things here, modding, but Affinity Squier Strat. So, you know, it's a pretty low-end Mexican-made Stratocaster. But I would first have to say, if it's a Father's Day gift, I would do whatever it takes to make you love that guitar and keep it for the rest of your life. Because
you can't sell it. You got it from the girls. You're stuck with it. You might as well have fun with it.
Well, and you want to play it. I mean, you don't want to just, Daddy, play the guitar we got you. No, make it awesome, you know. So.
And if that means replacing the machine head, neck, body, tuners, tremolo system, and
but if you've never had it set
wiring,
up, I mean, it's worth someone taking a look at and adjusting.
It can play better.
And based on that, I mean, go all out. Why not?
Your telly that you have right here, I mean, really wasn't much more than an Infinity telly when we first started working on that thing.
Yeah, that was a body. Yeah, and basically it's had 2 different necks on it, and God knows how many wiring jobs. Yeah.
But it wasn't.
But you know what? I was going to just say, like, you know, that we did that Strat for Darian, one of our customers, and then Steve also. And also Sean. We have several customers who they had their first guitar that somebody bought them. It was like a Harmony Strat copy, plywood body. You know, it's just it was kind of a, you know, it wasn't a good guitar or whatever. But to them, it was like, this is my first guitar. I never want to sell it. I want to keep it. You know. And we literally, no kidding, replaced just about everything but the body.
It made them awesome.
And they looked awesome. They looked great. They sounded great. You know, we put all high-grade pickups, really nice neck on them, machine heads and whatever. You know, so you can go crazy to that extent.
Which is fun.
You know,
it becomes, you know, like a work.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then,
work in progress, sort of.
Right. Like,
maybe I'll try this, that, you know. And,
like Wade was saying, too, you know, he's got this JB from 8 Guitars Back. I mean, you know, you can keep these parts, too, and kind of replace things and trade things and whatever, you know. But, no, I mean, in a soup to nuts thing, you know, the Squier, I guess he said it's an Affinity.
An Affinity?
Yeah, those are, you know, the hardware's not the best in the world. You know, it's like I said, you can't really sell it. I guess the Affinity series wouldn't be the Strat that I would necessarily pick out to put a whole bunch of money into, only because of maybe the alloys used.
If your daughter bought it for you,
I'd trick it out like I would, but I'd probably yank the frets out of it, you know. But let me just say,
you wouldn't. If it felt right, and it was you know, I mean, if it felt right to you. Yeah. And maybe it didn't sound the great.
Not addressing maybe this guy in particular, but
what you're starting with. Yeah. Almost any sort of facelift you're going to give it, or you know, any sort of different pickup or changing the pots. That's all going to. It's just going to be a positive.
Right. You got nowhere to go but up.
You're only going up.
True that. Yeah.
So if you're playing it now, and you're enjoying it, but not completely. You're only going to enjoy it more if you do.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not getting
if you go the extra mile.
And we're all fathers here, and from fathers, show your kids how obsessed you are with that guitar as you do it. Put a big smile on your face.
And you should
keep
be
modding it. Yeah.
It sounds like you are already. You know, like I say, you can only get better. Because
and that's your first guitar too, right? So
the fact that you're asking the question means that you're already there.
Yeah.
You know.
And maybe they even want to be a part of it. Maybe they can help you go on Seymour Duncan's website, pick out pickups, and you guys
they can learn about it, and maybe they can email us how the hell a humbucker works.
Do it for the children. Do it for the children.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have run out of time, but yeah.
I didn't get to.
You're cut. Is it?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, I was going to say.
There was fan mail for him, right? Remember there was,
right, yeah. Well, it's in a giant truck back there, semi filled with fan mail. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. No, I was going to say, if you were on a desert island, and there was this cool.
Okay.
Is this the Dr. Moreau thing again, or is this
if you were on the island of Dr. Moreau,
and the credits are going,
and the credits are rolling, and it's episode 7.9.
I think we should.
No, I was just going to say, could you, if I put you on the spot right now, pick out 2
Oh boy.
guitar tones that you think, even if you don't like the song, just because we have viewers that listen to all sorts of different types of music and come from there are different age groups and all over the world. But what if I ask you to just name 2 absolutely awesome guitar tones that the first couple that stick in your mind? You shouldn't have to think about it too much. Just think about it. 2 guitar tones. Name them. I'll start.
Sultan's a Swing.
Awesome
We Will
tone.
Rock You.
Awesome guitar tone, both. Yeah. Now, Sultans of Swing, Dire Straits, We Will Rock You, Queen.
Yeah.
Go out and get them. Check it out. Awesome guitar tones. Wade, anything pop into your mind?
Neil Young, Over and Over, or any Stray Cats, any
Right, there's
original
some
Stray
Gretsch
Cats.
work there.
good
Yeah.
There's some beautiful stuff
Big
there.
round tone there. Yeah, yeah.
No,
Good
but now
times,
you.
good times, bad times with the Leslie and the Zeppelin. Oh man, that tone is just yeah. And then Highway to Hell is awesome.
Okay, what's
Really?
AC/DC.
identify what creates the sound?
Yeah.
Highway to Hell.
Highway to Hell, SG, Marshall, cranked.
Marshall
Pretty
Plexi
much.
100
Okay, the
with
first
2 of the tubes yanked.
Yep, and Angus Young. Say no more. Say no more.
First one
was probably a Telly and a Leslie and a Marshall probably, or maybe a twin or
Supro.
deluxe. Oh, Supro probably.
Remember those
yeah.
Supros he used to
Yeah, so Leslie and a Supro and about 18 mics.
Neil Young and Old Black going through 50s Fender Tweeds, and Brian Setzer, 50s Gretches played through
Fender amps, mostly.
Yeah.
Was he a
Uses
Vibro
those-
King? He was a
Yeah,
Vibro King guy.
and he uses those Fender reverb tanks and
Yeah.
Echoplexes, which are tape delays, tape echoes.
And identify your guitars and amps of your choices.
I think Mark Knopfler, well, of course that was a Strat. Some sort of in-between Strat sound.
Right.
It was a 60s
And I
Strat,
think-
actually. I always thought it was a 50s one, but
I
it was a
think
60s
word
Rose
on
one.
the street was an HD 130 head.
Really?
That might be, yeah. Yes.
A Music Man. And of course Brian May, the Red Special, threw about 20
9
Vox
years
amps
Voxes,
and,
yeah.
20
All
treble
set slightly
boosters.
different, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So there
I don't
you
know
go.
how he- I don't know how
I
he
thought,
does it.
no
one's ever
that's
been able to nail that
6
song.
tracks that people can go out and check out if they haven't already heard them. Those aren't really obscure tracks per se, but
No, I mean,
maybe we'll try it again in a later episode.
Oddly enough, almost everything chosen purity of tone, other than Brian May, who most of that was multi-tracking and not just that he was using tons of effects.
yeah.
Then, on that note, thank you. That was actually good. I'm sorry
Okay,
I left you hanging on that. I didn't know you had something.
When you get into that desert island thing,
It just starts to go awry, yeah.
I kind of wish
you've
I could go off to a
survived.
desert island. Yeah.
You have definitely survived
I have.
another podcast.
I have.
Thank you again so much for coming down. The Guitar Shop Podcast, Season 2, Episode 7.
Ish. Yeah.
Check us out on the website, wadesguitarshop.com. Click on the podcast link. Check out previous episodes, whatnot. We're also on Facebook. It's not a huge deal. Check us out on Facebook if you want. Like us or whatever you do on Facebook.
This
Tweet
little
us.
Facebook thing that's out there.
You can blog us on Twizzler.
You can twizzle about it on BlogNet.
The iPad
that.
store. We're on cell phones, aggregators, and Ed.
We're on
Oh,
YouTube.
that's
again.
a good band. Those
Fantastic.
aggregators are real good.
Jocelyn, get well. Come back. Join us soon.
Yeah.
Sorry, the
It's an expensive
stuff going
camera.
over there. We will be back soon. Thank you so much. We are out.
Ballard and his amazement for his own guitars.